Welcome to the Founders Forum podcast, brought to you by the Foxwell Founders, where we interview some of the hottest minds in D2C right now and deep dive on their area of expertise. Everyone that we interview here is a cherished member of our Foxwell Founders community of over 550 advertisers worldwide and are at the cutting edge of what is working right now. I hope you enjoy this, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Andrew at Foxwell Digital. And now let's get stuck into this week's episode. Here are Edwin and Tris, our hosts.
Three best ways that we've ever seen to deal with this is
it's one of the things that's working really, really well for our agency right now.
Question of the week, right?
He's going to spill all the tea on TikTok for us. What is the oh wow strategy of the moment? If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Who buys it even at that time, right?
Hey guys, this is Edwin.
I'm Tris.
We got Kurt today, the host of the Unofficial Shopify Podcast. He has been a Shopify expert since 2011. Without further ado, let's get into it. Tris, kick us off.
Nasty. For sure. Absolutely. Cool. So listen, Kurt, welcome to the podcast, and thanks so much for your time. I mean, one of the things that we wanted to talk to you straight off the bat is we want to talk to you a bit more about Shop Cash. That's something that we've seen a lot of things working really, real well for our clients, and we've seen some real killer results. It's kind of slowed down the last couple of months, but I mean, I'd love to hear more. Have you seen it? Has it been something that's been working for your clients? Tell us a bit more about it.
I asked around. We've got 8-figure clients, Shopify Plus, and I asked about Shop Cash, and most of them didn't even know what I was talking about. They're like, "What is it?" And I kind of had the same reaction. I had to refresh myself and look up Shop Cash, and it's because I spend so much time in the online store and like Shop Pay and all those features are so layered, so elegantly into it that oftentimes new features get added, implemented, and are running, and I'm none the wiser. And so Shop Cash, when I did look it up and realize, this is what it is, very similar to Apple Cash in many ways. Cashback rewards, but it can't leave the shop ecosystem. And of course, everybody loves cashback rewards. It's like a reverse discount. It's better than a discount. But those Shop Cash campaigns, that's what interests me. That sounds useful.
Yeah, for sure. And like this is some of the things that we're seeing. So it's one of those very, very basic things you can do back into Shopify. You got to have Shopify Plus, so that's a little caveat. But you do, what we found though is that you can identify the customer, the products that you want to put on offer, and people can use that cashback as discounts on your products. But there's some really, really good value there. You can, as an advertiser, you can set yourself a CPA target you want to hit, and it just goes out and finds new customers on that. And we're seeing some clients of ours that are spending kind of $2,000-$3,000 a day on this stuff, and it's getting the sales at that level.
What are the typical verticals where it's successful?
So we're seeing it working in fashion and kind of accessories is one that's working well for us. I don't know, Edwin, any working for you specifically?
I'll be honest, we don't have anybody on it at the moment. And so I actually had to be like Kurt. I had to refresh myself, to be honest. Like, I know a lot, but sometimes it creeps up on you.
There's so many features. There's stuff I miss.
Damn straight. Okay, well, I think it would be lovely to hear from anyone who has done Shop Cash. I'd love people to write in and just tell us, hey, look, guys, we've done it. This is what's working, and we'll discuss it more in the community for sure. So, okay, let's tell. If you've been working with Shopify for years, Kurt, as you were saying, you've been at it for a long time. CRO must be really kind of right up your street. Tell us a bit more about CRO. So, one of the things that I'm seeing at the moment, is people doing a lot more landing page testing, especially when it comes to ads. You can do the best creatives in the world, but you're getting to the wrong page. It's not really working out. So what are the things you're seeing working in CRO at the moment?
So what you think is, like, when people approach you about CRO, conversion rate optimization, the classic that CRO people always reference is like, what button color? All right, no one at this point, no one's asked me about button color, right? But they do think that like CRO is like a magic pixie dust that can just sprinkle some CRO on it, and then the site will be better. And it isn't the case. And to your point, landing pages like that, if you want to engage in a CRO activity and you are not using landing pages are the thing that is going to bump up the conversion rate. But why
Okay.
is it? Well, it's because in a landing page, you're making something that is as laser focused and applicable to the person visiting it. Because like they're only getting to the landing page if you sent them there via some link. So the context from which they're coming to the site. And as long as the landing page fits into exactly that and then extends that, like that's why landing pages are so powerful. Because for once, you know exactly what the intent and context of that visitor is. And so really like CRO, when it's effective, when it is valuable, is simply making shopping experiences as relevant as possible to the person who's there. Because you're competing against a dwindling attention span, right? They were scrolling on social media, most likely, and clicked through on something to your site. You interrupted their doom scrolling. And if you lose their interest in any way, the back button is your big competitor. They're just going to go back to doom scrolling until they get interrupted again by something interesting. But like and then hopefully, maybe after a few recurring rounds of this, they'll visit and make a purchase decision on your site. But even on a good site, that happens 1 in 50 times you get the purchase, right? It's an uphill battle for sure.
If you have 1 in 50 times, you are doing something right.
Like 2.2% conversion rate. If you're let's assume like a $50 to $75 average order value, that is an excellent business.
Yeah, sure. Then let's go back to what you were saying. So people, they land on your site, you want a CRO. CROing for a product that is a problem solution product is relatively straightforward, right? But let's
if you solve a pain or problem, life gets much easier.
Oh my God, it is the best. That is the rocket. Sorry. But what about fashion and lifestyle brands, right? You got a lot of SKUs, they're landing on a bunch of things. What do you see most often to help those kind of brands?
All right, so fashion and apparel, I mean, that's probably the largest vertical on Shopify, if not the largest. And, the classic, like when Shopify started 15 years ago, it was, a lot of t-shirt sellers. That was the thing. And so fashion and apparel, a little bit kind of baked into the platform. And so these themes often have features that will assist you. But I think with fashion and apparel, the thing you have to overcome is not being able to see the item in person. That's number one. So it's like, all right, how do I absolutely 100% over communicate size and fit and feel and material? And so that's like the biggest CRO win for apparel and fashion is overcoming that, is over communicating size guides. And so it's like, all right, next to the size picker, I want a size guide link that opens a pop-up, that has a table, that has recommendations, that teaches me how to measure, that explains what the difference between a centimeter and an inch. Like there is no level at which you're over explaining yourself. And then I really love when it's like, okay, this is the model sizes, this is what the model is wearing. Yes, give me a reference point. And then
what would you
even
use
if
as
I'm
a reference
comfortable,
point? Would you say like like an Abercrombie or a Macy's, or what way are you picking there? Would say is a hoodie. I picked two random brands there, but like two random areas. But like what are you picking?
Well, the reference is
size,
they're going to show the hoodie on a model, and so they'll be like, Tyler is wearing a size medium and is 5'10".
Gotcha.
109 pounds, because he's an Abercrombie model.
I was gonna say.
And so then I go, I know I'm not a medium.
I hear that. That's a
that's
good
what
one.
I mean by the reference point. And then the second thing to overcome is, all right, even if I am comfortable with the sizing, what happens when I get it and it doesn't fit? And so then it's like you really got to communicate what's the return and exchange policy here.
Yeah.
And so how are you over communicating? So when you're talking about over communicating that size and that fit, right? What are the most there's the tables, of course, but like I'm not pulling out my measuring tape, right? My wife might have it, I don't have it. And so
you don't know how big around your chest is?
I should, to be honest.
I'm a barrel-chested monster. I'll tell you right now, it's 45 inches.
45, man. It's be working
45 inches.
Yeah, I'm a freak. I look like Frankenstein. And I walk like him too. Frankenstein's monster. Sorry, millennials are the generation in which like that's our entire identity, is knowing that Frankenstein is the guy, not the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you implementing then to over communicate size? And I know there are those apps that they'll ask you like what size are you in other brands, but like what other ways? Tell us more about that.
So I the apps can be good, but I don't think you even need to get to interactive size guide unless you
Okay.
have like some unusual sizing in a place where there are standard sizes.
Okay.
Like bra sizes, that's like a really standardized. Like I know there may as well be an ISO standard for bra sizing. And so it's like we did a site where they used their own sizing, and we made a little JavaScript calculator where it's like, what's the regular size? Here you go. Here's your size. And so like if you're doing oddball sizing like that, use a calculator, use an app to try and guide people. You're using like blanks for t-shirts where there's standards to it, like you're printing on Champion, Gildan, whatever. But no, on the site, I don't even think I need to get to an app. I think I want a size guide in multiple places. I think one mistake people make is if a piece of content lives in one spot on the site, I can never show that again. And this just is not the case. But then, merchants are also like, no one reads. Like, yeah, well, you hit it, so don't be surprised. I want, go on an Amazon listing. It's like size recommendation is in there, size guide will be in there, and then they'll repeat it in the photos. And it'll be like, it'll just repeat size info multiple times. There's no reason you can't just do this on your own product detail page. And so it's like, I put the size chart as the last photo in the carousel. Put the size guide pop-up link. Pretty much every theme has that feature implemented now. Put it in the description. Put it in an accordion tab, right?
And put it in the photo, because actually, if you put it in the photo, that's a big one for people using TikTok Shops. You can actually start to bring that into the last photo in TikTok Shops. Then you got your size guide in there straight off.
We were, 2 of 3 of us were lukewarm on Shop Cash earlier. TikTok Shop, that's the one that I wanted to hate, and the integration had its teething issues, which they're figuring out. But the actual service, the sales, quite impressive. The brands we have that had maybe even a little bit of a TikTok presence and then started using TikTok Shop have been pleasantly surprised by it. So just, you segued to TikTok Shop.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth a shot. If you've been considering it and you're like looking for the sign, this is it.
Yeah, this is the one you go. And so obviously with CRO and landing pages we talked about earlier on, with landing pages, you've got a good opportunity to move stuff around and change it. But TikTok Shop, you got your fix. Like what, in terms of optimization of a landing page or optimization of a product in TikTok Shop, what would you recommend then? Is there anything in particular? Because we talked there just about having the size guide in the photo. That's a big one. But is there anything else that you kind of look at TikTok Shops and go, oh, we could definitely have this in there? Are you talking, problem solution in the description, or what are you talking here? What are we thinking?
Oh, I personally have never used TikTok. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, right.
What do you do when you go to the bathroom?
Reddit. I use Reddit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Okay, so just when you're optimizing then on a site, you've got all this traffic coming to, say, for example, a landing page. You got people, like a lot of traffic to your site, and you can see all the numbers. You can see how many people have clicked and added to cart and purchased. How much of that do you hold balance versus actual like asking the questions after? So qualitative versus quantitative data. How much do you hold stock in the quantitative versus the qualitative?
I have found consistently better results and outcomes from qualitative data. The issue with quantitative data in conversion rate optimization is it is skewed so wildly by quality of traffic, and quality of traffic can change by so many factors completely out of your control. What is the current news cycle? What is consumer sentiment? If you're in a luxury brand, you could tie your conversion rate to the performance of the stock market. We've done this. It works depending on what you sell. And so there's just so much that you can't control. And so I've seen people tear their hair out going, my conversion rate's trending down, and thinking and just like changing thing after thing on their site out of desperation. When really it's like the news is gas prices are high. Okay, well now suddenly you might see sales go down.
Yeah.
That it's out of your control.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that like conversion rate and those other KPIs can't account for. And same with quality of traffic. Like occasionally the algorithm does weird things. We live and die by these advertising algorithms, and sometimes it just isn't your friend on who it sends to your site.
Yeah. And so then in that case, then you're asked, so you're finding that if you go and ask these people questions, what do you ask them? Is it, why didn't you convert? Or is it more of a, why did you? So are you asking the people who did and didn't, or which are you looking at?
Good question. All of the above. If I throw everything at you, people get overwhelmed and they won't do anything. So it's like, pick one. My current favorite is just to take all of the reviews for a product. If I have it in a spreadsheet, I could drag and drop it into ChatGPT-4 and ask it questions I could query it about it. And I find that is very helpful. And if I do, you walk through the thinking process with ChatGPT and then go, hey, write me a product description. Do it in the style of an Amazon listing. Here's my tone of voice. You could actually get really good results because now the product description is a mirror of the language that your customers were using in those reviews, where they were like, this is why I bought it. This was my experience. I mean, what could be more honest than this? But also, there's nothing more effective, right?
That's what you want.
In conversion rate, copy is the thing that absolutely makes the difference. It's the text that we all claim no one reads. That's the thing that really moves the needle. But to your point, on other questions, an exit intent survey where you just go, hey, if you didn't make a purchase today, why not?
Yeah.
That can be helpful. You'll also get a lot of, be ready for just utterly bizarre answers, or people, they're just like, think they're yelling into the void. And they'll just tell, they're like, I lost my job and I'm addicted to drugs, so I don't have any money and I was just bored shopping. You're like, that was honest, thank you. I've seen some weird stuff in there. It's like, I'm getting a divorce. That's okay.
That's a tough one to optimize
I'm sorry.
for. That's a tough one to optimize for. We're not going to change that. But what kind of stuff would you normally see then? And this is again, to your point earlier on, it's highly dependent on the traffic source and so on. But what would typically be the things you're seeing at the moment from exit intent surveys that would actually move, like, and say, oh, we should have changed that? What kind of stuff is there?
It'll be a consistent objection. It's like, well, you don't offer X, or like, and oftentimes the case will be like the consistent objection is wrong, but it's not that they're wrong, it's that we've not done a good job of communicating, and that's what we discover. I mean, nothing more valuable than talking to people, talking to your customers.
Right.
But it's almost always, it's like missing piece of information is like, oh, I wasn't sure if it would fit, or if it didn't fit, what would I do? And,
size guys.
Or often it's a misunderstanding where like they think something that isn't the case, and it's just like you just didn't do a good job of showing that.
Gotcha.
So going back, so you said something interesting about ChatGPT, right? So product descriptions, taking the reviews. I want to dig into that. So walk us through the process. So you get the reviews, and then tell me what prompts are you actually hitting, and I guess number one, does it work? Have you implemented it and seen the lift?
Yes, and we have split tests as well. And so, like, if you really want to test it, you could split test the multiple product descriptions. And that's where, that's where the rubber meets the road. And ChatGPT's description has not always won, but most people's descriptions are pretty soggy. They're pretty limp. Yeah. They're not. They're moist. These are all like vaguely negative adjectives. Whereas like those Amazon style listings, I like a lot. Those like sales letter type listings, I like a lot. And it surveys, people generally prefer reading things written by ChatGPT than like what a human wrote, simply because it formats it very nicely. It has good syntax. Yeah. Sometimes it could be annoying. Like the ideal one is take what it writes and then humanize it a little bit. But no, all right. So you go. It needs guardrails. You got to give it context. Because otherwise it's verbose. It could just ramble like me on any topic. And so like in ChatGPT-4, you can just drag and drop the spreadsheet in there. If you give it too much, it's short-term memory is finite. And so like too much is where you get yourself into trouble. So like do one product, give it a spreadsheet that is literally just the review text to simplify it. Give it that in a text file spreadsheet and give it the context. You are a conversion copywriter who specializes in e-commerce. And then now it knows its role. It's always assign the role first. We're consulting with a client, and the client is this, and they sell this, and we're going to help improve the product description on their one product page. But first we're going to look at their customers' reviews. it'll understand it when it has the context and those guardrails to work within. And so then oftentimes I don't want it to ramble at me. I just say reply okay if you understand.
Yeah.
And I've attached the customer reviews, send. And if it comes back with okay, perfect, next step. Now, and now I go through it and ask it the same qualitative questions the way you would in a customer interview, except it's now speaking for everyone. And you go, tell me why someone would buy. And it'll give me 5 reasons. And it'll tell you. I said, now give me quotes. Give me highlights, give me quotes, give me notable reasons that people gave.
Yeah.
Tell me issues people had. Tell me the objections they had before they bought. Tell me how they described it.
I like that.
Like those 5 questions or so, just kind of getting it to think through the process. And then, all right, now write a product description, keep it 500 characters. And if the output looks good, then go, all right, now rewrite this like an Amazon style listing. Now add a few key details, benefits. And then you can also get copywriting formulas like templates. Go, all right, now write a description, use this outline and provide it that. Like Copy Hacker's website has a thing, tons of templates that are free.
Yeah.
And so I'll grab those and I'll try several. When you're doing it yourself and working from a template, even then it's time consuming. A ChatGPT, it's like, 30 seconds later, and so I could start comparing and I could start mix and matching.
Yeah.
And then through that, you get a pretty good result out of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
And what is the real life lift that you've seen? So you've done the A/B test. So spill the tea. Like, what is the actual lift that you've seen?
All right, the absolute best one we got was 15%.
Okay,
And that was just a T-shirt.
Okay.
And we also added a pull quote to it, like where we led with here, like this one customer had this review that was just like absolutely insane. It's like, this T-shirt cured my polio, as I was walking out of the hospital. Like, what? Just crazy stuff. And it's like actual review.
Yeah.
So
That's hilarious.
I think that stuff helps. Humor can help.
On the idea of kind of mad things that AI can do. I mean, look, AI is coming in now. You're looking at the way that Google is starting to be overtaken by the likes of ChatGPT and things like that for search engines. Where is conversion rate optimization going when it comes to AI? Obviously, we're bringing in AI, using AI to design like product descriptions. But what is the future of CRO? Where do we go with this?
I would love it, and I think I'm sure multiple people are building this at the moment. But with CRO, the hardest part is usually the ideation. It's like, here's the site. Where do we start? What should we test first? And if I can have the AI look at the site and ask me a few questions so it has the context, and then go, here's suggestions. Or because it's getting better at vision, it's getting better at understanding what it's looking at. And if it could go through the site and go, here's where we think you're, and then, it has all this knowledge. So it could go through and go, all right, here's where we think you're deficient. So these are the recommendations. And then this is what you should test. I mean, if it could even do that, where it could kind of do a automated audit, that would be really impressive. That I would be thrilled with. And then if you got that far, okay, can it implement and run the tests on its own? And that way, and it would the most recent models, in the past, they've not been good at math. The most recent models getting better at math. And so maybe it could get to statistical significance on its own, understand that, and then all right, here's the best one, pick the winner next.
Nice.
And then obviously before it implements any test, okay, let me review it first.
Yeah.
I'm not put this thing on autopilot. It's yeah, we cut all the prices in half and it conversion rate went way up. No, don't do that.
Way up. Funny that. Yeah. I hear you. Well, listen, thanks a mil for that, Kurt. I mean, there's so many value bombs in there that I think a lot of people will take a lot from this episode. So thank you so much. So what we normally do now is you just say, listen, we want to kind of hear about what, from your side, when it comes to the Foxwell founders group and community. We'd love to hear, but how do you find it? Is there something that you're, is it what does it do for you in terms of your role and what you've done?
So the thing I like about the Foxwell founders group is in a private room of real operators, of the people doing the work. The thing I don't always go to conferences, and when I don't, the thing I miss is the conversations in the hallway. I don't care about the presentations. It's that chat, that talk, the real experiences you're hearing for people doing the work, in the halls. And groups like Foxwell Founders, those Slack groups, those private communities, that's where I have been able to recreate that without having to leave my house because I'm a shut-in. And so it really fulfills a wonderful professional networking need for me.
I hear that. That's exactly why we're using it too. So I absolutely love it. And it's got to meet you, so that's even better, right? Plus. So that's all, folks. Thanks so much for spending time with us here. Kurt's been dropping some absolute value bombs. If you have any questions, please reach out in the community. And I've been Tris.
I'm Edwin.
I'm Kurt.
I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks a million.